What a win. There we go. Should be good to go. But yeah, man, that was crazy game. Um, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. You guys should be able to hear me now. There you go. Shout out to chat. Um, but that was insane. It was insane. So I just want to come on and just vibe, just chat about the game, whatever. And I'm getting sushi tonight. Let's go, Nolan. Oh man, you can't be coming out here talking Raiders. Can't be talking Raiders. Oh gosh. I mean, it was a freaking day. I mean, it wasn't it was a very stressful game. It was stressful all the way throughout. But we had some big time performances by a bunch of big time players. And right now, the 49ers are staring the playoffs dead in the face. So right now, that's all I really care about. That's all I'm really hyped about. Um, again, I've gotten over. Uh, let me try to bring a parallel or a comparison. Big Warriors fan. And back in the heyday when they were balling, right? We expected, even now, but we expected that every night the Warriors to come out, Clay Thompson, Dre Greenlaw, Draymond Green, um, Clay, Durant, whoever. We just expected perfection. Uh, and again, the parallel is like with the Warriors, they were just so good playing at a different level than anyone else. Day in, day out, we expected them to be perfect. And we expected insane games. We expected just like insane execution. And we can't, it's not the same. This is not the same, but that's okay. It's not the same, but that's okay. It's a different vibe. It's a different energy. Obviously, going into this year, we know it's a little bit messy. We know it's a little kind of here, it's a little bit of there. But at the end of the day, one of the things that Fred Warner talked about at the presser was like basically saying, let me see if I can even just pull it up. But he was talking about these grimy games and just talking about how it just like does so much for the locker room because these are the battles, these are the wars that like galvanize locker rooms, galvanize like championship mindsets. Like again, this team's been through a lot this year. On the field, off the field, it doesn't matter. They've been through a lot. And for them to be able to come out and on the other side of these types of wins, I think it's important. And it means a lot because this is what the playoffs is like. The playoffs is, you get there, you get in, and anything can happen. It's a one game season at that point. It's a one game season at that point. So anything can happen. That's why playoff football, January football is a different animal. It's a different beast. There's a different kind of hunger to it um, than September football, November football, hell, even December. December football is when that hunger really starts to like manifest. But Fred Warner said, quote, the grimy ones mean the most. And what he was saying by that is he just was like everything, like we all know this when everything's going good in our lives, everything's like a win. We're just collecting W's. Oh, there's another W, another W. Like, oh, this is easy. This life is easy. Nothing's crazy. It's whatever. I got this. It's a lock, you know. Um, you can get a little complacent at times. You can. However, when you gotta like grind these games out. They're just like Fred Warner said, they're grimy. It's a perfect way to explain it. It's just a grimy game, a gutter game. You gotta pull out literally everything, all the stops. And when you go to war with guys, and what I really like to hear from Brandon Ayuk, when he was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, he said Jimmy's a dog. Like, quote, Jimmy is a dog. Um, he said that whenever they get into a situation where it's like they have to come from behind, they have to have it. He said Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence in those moments, it just the guys feed off of it. The guys feed off it. And I know everyone's got a comment about Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's it is what it is. Everyone's got a comment about Jimmy Garoppolo, what they think he's doing, what he needs to do better, what he's not doing well. Everyone's got a comment. Everyone's got a comment about Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, what you love to hear is guys like Brandon Ayuk talk about the presence of Jimmy Garoppolo in those moments where the weight of the world is against you. And when the weight of the world is against you and you've got to drive down the field in a game that's been messy, it's been ugly, there's been self-inflicted wounds and errors. Some things haven't gone your way, some things have bounced your way. When you got a guy in that huddle that can keep that level of calm and presence amongst the rest of the group. Now, again, Jimmy might go out and struggle here or there, but there's also something to say to the leadership from Brandon, what Brandon is saying, and again in those moments, because Jimmy he did it twice. But again, even in one of those drives, he almost threw the game sealing pick to Bates. But on the other hand, like we talked about, it's not always going to be clean. It's not always going to be pretty. And sometimes you just have to keep dealing. You just have to keep dealing. You have to keep going. You can't stop. You can't dwell. You can't hang your head on the fact that, oh, I almost threw a pick. And so you have to give credit to Jimmy for being able to work through a lot of the stuff that he's going through. Like, again, it's not always going to be the prettiest game ever, but what he's been able to overcome, again, I understand the comments and the thoughts. It is what it is. But I do appreciate what Brandon Ayuk had to say after the game about the quarterback, and I think it's worth talking about. Brandon Ayuk, when talking about George Kittle, just said that dude's a different animal. Just said that dude is a different animal. And I think it's absolutely true. And I'm super, super happy right now to see George Kittle absolutely just going bonkers. George Kittle has been insane the last two games. Yards after catch, or just making crazy catches like that one that he caught. I know that the drive didn't count because we had the missed field goal to win the game. We had an opportunity to take care of it before we went into overtime. Obviously, we know what happened there. But that catch in that situation, in the gotta have it moments, like for him to high point that thing, he's on the run, squares up, high points it literally at its highest point, almost like goes through his fingers. To be able to come down with that, George Kittle doesn't get enough respect. And it's kind of crazy that I'm saying that. Like, that I can say George Kittle doesn't get enough respect, and it's a true statement. As you guys know, I'm one of Kittle's biggest fans. I have been one of Kittle's biggest fans since he was at Iowa, let alone before he was a 49er. So to watch his progression, the maturation process of George becoming one of the best, if not the best, tight ends in the NFL, to watch him kind of go through our fan base when we're losing and then turning on George. Again, George Kittle is not one to be slandered. He's not. And again, you have someone right here saying he's fragile at times. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, it's unbelievable. The things that people say. If you guys need a reminder, just in case you guys need a reminder, football is 100% guaranteed you're going to get hurt. 100% guarantee that you will get hurt. let alone let's bring the context into how he got hurt and the reasons why he got hurt. No, forget that. And that's what's wrong with with a lot of this. It's like, put some respect on that dude's name. Don't ever slander that man ever again. Like, if you haven't learned your lesson, which clearly some people still haven't, just don't do it. Just don't. Because even when he's not catching and going for 170 yards and 9 catches and 2 touchdowns, he's blocking his ass off. When he's blocking his ass off, that means the 49ers are running the ball well, and large part due to him. So put some respect on that man's name, please. And if you don't, it's all good. But I will. George has been phenomenal this year. Again, as a blocker, and that talent never left. He can't scheme himself the ball. He can't scheme away double coverage. He can't do that. So he can only do what he can do. And even with those circumstances, he's still balling. He's still balling. So again, I'm not the one to bring your George Kittle slander to. I'm not the one. Don't do it. I'll probably just get mad at you. Just don't do it. I'm not the one. There are other people who will take that slander and run with it. That won't be me. So George, I'm so happy for the way he's performed since his return, since he's come back. He's been insane, absolutely insane. And then again, guess who else showed up today? Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel showed up today. Continues to show up again. I think he targeted one time. But again, we need explosives right now out of the backfield. It's one of the things that we've taken for granted from Raheem Mostert and what he brought to us in 2019 and 2020. Raheem Mostert was the explosive back that we had. And without him, even with Elijah's doing a great job and churning out yards and being able to produce and put up a lot of production. But you can see the difference. You can see the difference when you get that explosiveness out of the backfield. And that great play around the right side, Tom Compton leading the way. It's beautiful. It was a great play. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I love when the blocking works and everything's in play and it looks exactly like you intend it to be. So there's a lot of positives to go around. Again, Aziz Al-Shaair had a day. There's a lot of positives to go around. Although, it wasn't a pretty game when we look back at the overall structure of it. We've had plenty of games like that against the Bengals where we've lost, and we haven't come on the right side of it. Again, look at last week against Seattle. It just sometimes the ball has to bounce your way, and then once it bounces your way, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. You absolutely have to take advantage of those opportunities, and the 49ers have. They did. And they got a couple breaks here or there, but that's okay. We need those breaks. And that's how football is. So overall, man, it was a lot of fun. Where do I get these hats from? These are from Residency. So we got the Residency hats. We got 2 promo codes. The SF Niners will get you a discount off everything. And if you want the white hat, which is kind of been our lucky rabbit's foot at this point, if you use promo code SF Bay Niners, you get 35% off this particular hat. So I'm just saying, it wasn't even me. It was the Sourdough Squad. It was the SDS crew over here on YouTube that called me out for switching my hat. I switched to the gold hat against Seattle. Uh, they said, "Don't bring out that gold hat again. Bring out the white hat." I said, "Okay, I'll bring out the white hat. We'll see if it works." I'm just saying, we needed some luck. We needed some luck to get that W. So I'm gonna give the credit to the hat. That's what did it, guys. That's what it was. But I appreciate you guys. Um, I mean, so this is a good question. Trayer says, "How much of a concern is the secondary going forward?" I mean, it's going to be a concern. It's going to be a concern. Of course, when you're dealing with the injuries that the 49ers are dealing with. They're two starting cornerbacks on outside cornerbacks. Kwan's still around. But their two outside cornerbacks are on injured reserve right now. So of course, there will be concerns, but I really did like the way that D'Amico and the defense went about stopping the Bengals offense. They did a really good job of neutralizing the run game. That was, I think, hugely important to this overall success of the defense because again, the Bengals want to run the ball. They want to run the football to, get things going, get third and manageables, second and manageables, those types of things. Azeez Al-Shaair, Fred Warner, DJ Jones, Arden Key, Omenahue, Sampson, Bosa, Talanoa. I mean, these guys were not going to let them run on them. They weren't. And they did a really successful job. I think that helped the overall defense as a whole. We were talking about it pregame. Like, how do they do? What do they do? What do they do? And we were talking about, well, it's absolutely amazing that the 49ers got Fred Warner back because when you get Fred Warner and Azeez Al-Shaair and you stick them in the middle of the field and you start running zone concepts, well, those two linebackers by themselves can eat up a lot of ground. Especially in a high traffic area of the field. I mean, we're blessed with elite coverage linebackers. And so obviously losing outside corners hurt, but if we're running zone schemes and zone shells, then we can manipulate the coverage to kind of actually protect our guys a little bit. Obviously, we saw Amber get beat deep for that one to Jamar Chase. And that was man coverage. He got put in man coverage. There's no safety help over the top, and Joe Burrow saw it just like any quarterback would. They saw it, and they're like, "All right, we're taking our shot." Jamar Chase versus a cornerback getting his first NFL start. That's a big ask. Even though they're both rookies, again, Jamar Chase went into this game as the fifth leading receiver in reception yards heading into this game, right behind Deebo Samuel. So Jamar Chase is not built like all rookies. He's one of those guys that shows up and is plug and play as a rookie. So moving forward, the concerns with the defensive backs, we're going to get hit here or there really quickly too. Deepest condolences to Dante Johnson, his family. I mean, what a tough situation for Dante. Hopefully we can all band together as 49er fans and let's lay off the Dante Johnson slander for a little bit. What's up, Jason? Right, Jason? No Dante Johnson slander. We got to give our condolences, and my heart breaks for that man. He had an opportunity to start right in front of him. Unfortunately, family situation took over. As we know, he lost his mom. So thoughts and prayers out to that man. Because the 49ers are going to need him. 49ers are going to need Dante Johnson. So, although, our guy couldn't be with us today because he had to take care of his family, and rightfully so, we're going to need him. So, we got to lift that guy up, man. You know it. You put yourself in his shoes. We all got moms, we all got dads. And if you've been there in his position before, you also understand as well. So, just got to, again, let's use what we can do, our reach on social media, um, all those little touches that we can do in comments and things like that. Just show the man some love. Um, keep him close in our hearts. Remember, he's human just like you and I. He doesn't just wear a jersey. He's not just a number. Um, he's a man, and he's hurting. So we're gonna need that guy too. So just keep him close, man. Just keep that man close, because hopefully he can be back next week. And I'm assuming we're gonna need Dante Johnson against the Falcons coming up next week. So tough time for him, but we gotta have his back. Gotta have his back. Is Tom good? Is Tom good? Is Tom Compton good? So Tom Compton has been much better than I anticipated. I'm not gonna lie. I was very scared. Very scared for Tom Compton to come in. What was that, back in the Jags game when we saw Tom Compton for the first time? Because Jalen Moore got the start. And with Jalen Moore, obviously he's a rookie, so there's more upside. He's gotten a start before. We felt like, but we also understood going from left to right, there's going to be some learning curves. But man, Tom Compton, honestly, um, has performed much better than I thought, than I anticipated. Even through these couple games, he's performed pretty well. He's been really good in the run game. I think that's one area that he doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough respect. Tom Compton has been great in the run game. Again, go look at the Deebo Samuel play. Go look at the Deebo Samuel play where he's running down the sideline. That's off a Tom Compton block. Tom Compton doesn't get that block, we don't get a touchdown there. He had plenty of plays like that against the Vikings. Against Seattle, I went back and I studied every snap, and the two snaps that we noticed from Tom Compton against the Seattle Seahawks were in fact the only two really bad snaps that he had. So again, I know they came in big times and they were big moments, and they stood out like a sore thumb. But overall, body of work, Tom Compton has been good for us. So we understand though where Tom Compton, um, you know, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Every single player out there has a strength, they have a weakness. And what do? We play to our strengths, we limit our weaknesses, or we mask them. With Tom Compton, we understand he isn't strongest in pass blocking one-on-one on an island. Um, there are ways that you could go about kind of aiding that and putting a band-aid on that. You can chip with tight ends. You can chip with running backs. You can chip with wide receivers. I mean, honestly, if the 49ers are going to drop back pass and Tom Compton is on an island, there should be a chip on every play. That's just my if I was a coach and like we're like, hey, yeah, we don't want sacks and we don't want our quarterback to get pressured right away, then let's run chips. Let's put a tight end next to our guy and give him a little help. And that would go a long way. So we'll see if those adjustments are made, because obviously when we see those instances, they can be a bit glaring. But overall, like I said, Tom Compton's been good. He's been good. He's not the reason why we've lost at all. There are some moments that stand out, but like I said, I would be like talking if I'm the O line coach. I'm like, well, hey, hey, we know what it is. Let's not pretend. So let's give him some help. Let's throw a tight end over there. Let's throw a running back to chip. Whatever. There are ways to go about it. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, Tom Compton has been solid. And I'm happy. I'm happy. Oh, someone on YouTube says better than Big Mike. No, we'll put respect on Tom Compton's name. We will. But Mike McGlinchey was playing at a level that was better than what we've had at right tackle thus far. One of the things that you guys have noticed, one of the things that I have talked about at length when I do my offensive line breakdowns, one of the things that you never saw with Daniel Brunskill and Mike McGlinchey, it was whenever there was a D-line stunt, they never missed it. The pass off was beautiful. They never screwed up a D-line stunt ever. And the second McGlinchey went down, we started seeing those issues rear its ugly head. One of the sacks I think that we got in protection was a missed stunt. Something that again, I think Compton has gotten caught twice in 2 weeks on stunts. In big moments, like I said, McGlinchey and Brunskill did not miss on stunts. It was like a walk in the park for those two. So that's where you're missing McGlinchey. You're missing that continuity on that right side. However, Tom Compton has done a good job. Tom Compton's done a more than admirable job stepping in 100%. Thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo versus Tom Brady in the playoffs? Please give me that. Please give me that. All day, every day, twice on Sunday, all of it. Give me that. If we get first of all, if we get the playoffs, that's house money at this point. But if we get into the playoffs against Tom Brady, well, how does that work? Tom Brady's NFC, right? Bucks are NFC, AFC. Bucks are NFC, right? I don't want. I'll say this: I don't want to see them in the first round. Absolutely not. I would love to see Green Bay. If the 49ers had to travel to Green Bay, NFC, you're right. I don't know. I had a brain fart. Sorry. I would love to see the 49ers travel to Lambeau and take it to the pack. I would love to see that. I would love a little bit redemption for this year, earlier this year. I think from a schematic standpoint, we match up really well with Green Bay, what Green Bay wants to do and accomplish. We know what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. However, going back, my mind's going through all the reps and the tape that I watched against Green Bay. One of the things that Green Bay did really well against the 49ers in the first half was they knew what we were doing. They knew what we were doing, and they were selling out to stop it before we would do it. But that's information that you can take and that you can manipulate. So we know Kyle, if you give him an opportunity to manipulate someone with some information, he's gonna do it. So hell, give me the pack, man. Give me the Packers. I'm just happy to be talking about the playoffs. Honestly, I'm just happy to be talking about the playoffs. Because what we talked about going into this game is we talked about the 49ers kind of being half in the grave, half foot, like 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot in the playoffs. It was just like with one step, we could fall into our grave or we can fall into the playoffs. Like that's kind of life as a 49er fan, right? Like we just, we didn't know. We don't know like which version of ourselves we're gonna see any given Sunday. Um, but I think baseline of what we're seeing is we're starting to see a team that is going to fight their asses off, regardless of what happens. Um, they're still not playing 100% clean football. Um, I need to. Someone said the game is insane on Sunday Night Football. I need to put it on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm putting it on in the background. We're gonna put the Sunday Night Football game on in the background. But what's crazy is that the 49ers, if you ask them, they're probably still making more mistakes than they would want to, but they're still selling out to get the dubs, man. They're still selling out to get the dubs. All right. I'm gonna have one eye on the Sunday Night Football game. See what's going on. I know Justin Fields is playing. I don't know how he's doing tonight. I don't know. But we'll see. Shout out checking in from Brazil. We see you. But if we're going to talk playoffs, I mean, why not? If we're going to talk playoffs, the 49ers right now, as of right now, they're the 6th seed. So they have one spot up. So the 49ers were at the 7th seed, I believe, going in to this weekend, right? They were the 7th seed. Beating the Vikings was a huge step in the right direction. The 49ers have a tiebreaker over the Eagles, which are seeded 9th. Vikings are seeded 8th. And the Washington football team just lost. So now they drop to the 7th seed. And now the 49ers are 7-6. Ooh. That above 500 number looks good. I get it. I see you guys on Instagram. I see you on YouTube with the playoffs, Jim Mora comments. No, dog, we're talking playoffs. We're talking playoffs. Playoffs? Yes. Playoffs. Again, the 49ers the playoffs were to start tomorrow. 6th seed. We're in. We are in. So I think it's safe to say if the 49ers can rattle off 3 more wins, win 10 games, there's a really good opportunity for them to get into the playoffs. And that's all we can ask for. Now, I've talked about it, on YouTube a ton to the Sourdough Squad about how, one of the things about the Sourdough Squad, I love how we talk about these games like we're playing them. We're like, hey, guys, we're going to go in one game at a time. We're not going to look ahead. We're going to Bengals this week. That's it. We're not going to get focused on the next game. Bro, Sourdough Squad's different. We're built different. We talk like we're playing the game. So we've always talked about, like, right now it's one game at a time. It's one game at a time. We're treating each game as its own mini playoff game. Just like today was. Today was a mini playoff game. You had to have it. On the road. Had to have it. So just like having to have it, they got it. And now they jumped a seed. So they're 6th seed now with a 1-game lead over Washington. 1-game lead and tiebreaker over Vikings. 1-game lead and tiebreaker over Eagles. Guess who's only 1 game behind? Guess who's only 1 game behind the 49ers right now in the record? The Falcons. Guess who the 49ers got next week? The Falcons. So next week, hey, we're not taking the Vikings or the Falcons lightly. We're not thinking like the Falcons are just going to roll over. You guys remember 2019? Remember what happened in 2019? I think the 49ers just went on. I don't know if it still stands to this day, but I believe that 3-game stretch that the 49ers had in 2019 prior to the Falcons game was one of the hardest 3-game stretches based on a cumulative record in NFL history. And I believe the 49ers won all 3 of those games. I think it was Baltimore, it was the Saints game. I forget the last one. I don't know if it was that Washington game or not. I'm kind of blanking on what that 3rd game was. But guess who beat us? Guess who beat Oh, you're right. We lost to Baltimore. We almost beat Baltimore. You're right. We almost beat Baltimore. Damn it. You're right. We lost to Baltimore. My mistake. I'm not going to go back into the Wayback Time Machine. Clearly, the Wayback Time Machine isn't working well. It was the Packers. It was the Packers. Thank you. It was the Packers. But the point is that we made it through that stretch. It was a really tough stretch. The Falcons were a bottom feeder at that point. They had really no business beating us. The Falcons flew to Levi's, remember? And that's what we call trap games. It's what we call trap games. Yes, Julio Jones on the very last play. The game of inches. The game of inches play. The game of inches play before the game of inches play against Seattle. That was the one where Jimmy hit Julio Jones in the legs right at the goal line, and Julio like falls into the end zone and just barely breaks the plane. Again, we're not going to take the Falcons lightly, and they're only one game behind the 49ers in the seeding. So again, these are all like mini little playoff games. These are all mini little playoff games based on the record, based on where the standings are, based on the rest of the league. We got to treat these. And again, I'm talking to us. I'm talking to the Sourdough squad like we're playing, like we're getting ready to strap them up and go play on Sunday. But I mean, I think mindset matters for our fan base. We got to treat this like a playoff game. I think I'm going to try to get to this game at Levi's because I think it's got to be like a playoff atmosphere. Like it has to. Like anyone going to the game on Sunday against the Falcons, it's got to be like we got to be like bringing that playoff juice with us as fans because that's what it is. We got to get these dubs. We got to stack them so we can control our own destiny at the end and get into the playoffs. Because once we get in, it's a different story. Throw the year away. That's one of the beauties of the playoffs. As long as you get into the playoffs, you can literally throw your season away. It doesn't matter anymore. What you did in the year, it doesn't matter because it's a new year. It's a new season. It's a 1-game season until you get to the Super Bowl. So we're not going to talk about Super Bowl, but playoffs? Oh, hell yeah, we're talking about playoffs. We're going to be talking about playoffs from here on out, and we're going to be watching it closely. When you're sitting in the 6th seed, that's what I'm talking about. So it is, yes, corners, the situation. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we're just going to dominate everyone. And that's okay. We're going to have to go into these games knowing that we're going to have to overcome mistakes. We're going to have to overcome lapses. We're going to have to overcome things that don't go our way. It's going to be like this Bengals game. Again, because if you go to the week before against Seattle in the same type of atmosphere, we had to win that game, at least in our minds. It was another ugly game. That time they didn't come out on the right side of it. So I would have to imagine that that's what the playoffs are going to be like. It's going to be a drag out, just brawl, body blows, both sides. It's going to be intense. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm down to talk playoffs. I'm absolutely down to talk playoffs. Manny Fresh says team win today. Yeah, we haven't talked enough about special teams. Shout out River Craycraft. He got one of the first turnovers. Did he get both of them? I don't even remember. But he got one of them. Shout out River. He's been active only for the last 2 weeks. So that's been awesome. He's been balling out on special teams. Um, maybe we'll get some River action against Green Bay. Or I'm sorry, Green Bay. Um, the Falcons. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Um, I know. So how do we feel? I'll just ask. I'll just ask. How do we feel about Robbie Gould at this point? Um, I know. I'm sure the response isn't going to be great, right? Um, Robbie Gould did have an opportunity there at the end to get the dub. We definitely got the dub, but it probably shaved a couple years off my life in the process. Um, but yeah, I think there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Robbie's here to stay, at least for this year, and um, you know, it's. Jesus says, Gould in my doghouse right now. Oh, fool's gold. Dang. Dang. So I get it. It's tough. It's tough. I think we all remember the situation. I don't think it's ever left a lot of our fans in regards to the whole contract situation. But it is what it is. I just think, who else we got? Who else we got? That's our that's our guy. That's our guy for the rest of the year. That's our guy. Um so hopefully we can get those moments later on down the road. Um I will say this, he's been better than Joey Sly. Joey Sly I think was better from long range. But I think Joey Sly missed a couple PATs, things like that. So he's been better than Sly. He made me. I thought he was better than Sly. I know Sly was, I think, good. He was good from long, but he missed a couple PATs and a couple. He missed some not great ones. Um, so it is what it is. But on the again, he made the one kick, so it's not all bad. Um, but again, I think obviously the punt coverage today, the punt coverage unit. I don't think I really am not surprised by the punt coverage unit. How hard they played. Uh, they were playing. They were. I like the energy. Um, and I think it's important to kind of correlate the way that the special teams played and correlated it to their coach and getting dragged on social media for an entire week. The special coach, Hightower, he got the fire treatment, where everyone wants to fire someone. He got that treatment for the team's performance against Seattle. I think it is important to note. It is important to note how that unit played and I really believe they played that way for their coach. Um, Again, I watched the Hightower presser. I thought the Hightower presser, he said absolutely everything that he needed to say. He took responsibility. He fell on the sword. He didn't make excuses. Again, one of the things that is not talked about amongst special teams play is the fact that those guys that are out there are all backups. Most of them, not all of them. You get some starters on the team's units, but most of the team's units are backups. And when your starters get hurt, those backups get elevated to be starters. The guys who are playing on your team unit are practice squatters or guys that you signed that week. So you have to understand when you're constantly getting depleted from the actual guys that play defense and offense, the guys who are core special teamers come off that unit and become rotational and or starters, and then the guys who are now starting on teams are practice squad guys who don't play and or guys that have signed fresh off the street. So something important to note, with the injuries that we have, our special teams will get impacted by that. So it is what it is. I like how they responded. And I like how they performed today. Special teams, oh yeah. Special teams was a big reason why the 49ers won. Again, a lot of people are going to focus on the Gould stuff, but again, the punt unit, those guys are playing their asses off. So tip the cap to those guys. Again, River had one. River had got one of the balls back, so that was dope. Luke says my boy Craig Kraft just got brought back, just got activated from practice squad, and he makes first fumble recovery. Yeah, he balled. Let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk. How good is it to see Brandon Aiyuk balling? It's been great to see Brandon Aiyuk ball because we know it was a tough situation this year. It was a tough situation for Brandon Aiyuk. Now, we're not going to get into the hows or the whys of the situation. The fact of the matter is he was in a situation, and whether he was put there or he was self-appointed, put himself there, doesn't matter. You got to give the credit to the guy for getting himself out of the hole that he was in. He was in a hole. His play was matching that vibe. And clearly something clicked. And Brandon Aiyuk, I think it was, what game did he start balling out in? Was it the Chicago game where he kind of like turned the tide a little bit? I think it was the Chicago game. I'm not positive. But Brandon Aiyuk, man, has really taken a turn in the right direction. Again, we could have looked at that situation and it could have went the wrong way. It could have went the opposite way. It could have went the way of like, oh, look at Debo, right? Again, these guys are a bunch of alphas, man. They want to be the best. They want to be the greatest. They want it all, man. And sometimes when you look over and you expect that for yourself, and yet you see your running mate like Debo Samuel getting all the accolades, getting all the production, and all they're talking about is you and why you ain't getting the ball. Where's Brandon? What's wrong with Aiyuk? Free Aiyuk. Like, oh my goodness. The storm hit hard. Week 1, right away. Week 1, we know why. He split reps. He split reps with Trent Sherfield. And that's tough. That's tough too, especially if you don't really understand why you're splitting reps. I'm not going to lie. I've been in that situation where I was the starter and they were like, well, you're not performing to your best ability. And so we're going to throw the guy behind you just to see how you react to that. A lot of the times they just want to see how you react. They want to see if that is like going to be the spark that lights the fire under your butt to get up and get going. And I think with Brandon, it took a while, but they figured it out. And since they figured it out, that fire's been lit. And Brandon Aiyuk is, again, he had the game winner today. He had the game winner. Beautiful play. Um, could have just went out of bounds, but he kept that thing alive and made sure that he got the ball into the end zone. Um, so good. So good. And I'm super happy for, again, I was a big Brandon Ayuk believer. I was a big Brandon Ayuk believer. I thought he was gonna have the year that Debo was having. That's fine. Debo's having it. Debo's having an insane year. One of the better years that I've seen from a 49ers wide receiver in a long time. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to rack my brain. Last time we saw like we're talking Anquan Bolden. But even Anquan Bolden was, he was on the back end of his career. He was still producing. Don't get it twisted. Anquan Bolden was dope. Absolutely dope. But the impact is a little different. The way Debo is impacting the 49ers offense is like, I see what you guys are saying. That's kind of what I'm getting back to. Kind of feels like we haven't seen an impact from a wide receiver like that since T.O. And T.O. is certified Hall of Famer, certified stud. Should have been first ballot. Like, that dude is different. Debo's balling like he's different. Now, it might not be the physically imposing will and that we've seen from, T.O. T.O. was like a Greek god. He's had size, speed, length, like prototypical. I wouldn't say Debo's prototypical. I would say Debo's prototypical to Kyle Shanahan's scheme. And within the scheme, dude's crazy right now. He's going off. Again, that's with one target. We're talking about Debo Samuel. Dude had one target today. But he's been on fire. He's been absolutely on fire. Yeah, let's talk about Juwan Jennings really quickly. Juwan Jennings is turning into a baller. One of my favorite things about Juwan Jennings is his blocking. Juwan Jennings as a blocker he might be one of our best blockers. Like, again, we're all saying it within the context of their position, but within the context of his position, Juwan Jennings is probably one of the best blockers on the team. I remember he had a rep against Seattle, and it was a rep where a lot of times you see a wide receiver, it's a run away from the play, like it was a run left. I think he was in the slot on the right, so it was away. Like, it wasn't like they're running off his butt and he had to like have this crazy block and just really stonewall his guy. No, he was on the backside. And the way he attacked his defensive back, again, we've seen it all the time. We see these wide receivers on the backside of run plays. They'll they'll jog over there and they'll do their little stock block, or they'll like pretend like they're running a route, but it's like they're in agreement. Like, hey, I'm going to pretend like I'm running a route and we're just going to pretend like we're blocking each other. Not Juwan. Juwan went right at his head and like almost pancaked the dude. And I'm like, again, the context is backside run. His guy's probably not going to make the play, but it didn't change the fact Juwan just went after the guy and almost planted him on the ground. That type of effort is great. And then to see it kind of manifest to like being able to get like big time catches when you have to have it, like especially in this game. Dude had that high point that he had, like I'm not gonna lie. When Jimmy threw that up, I was like, oh, oh no. I was like, just because we know Jimmy's tendencies. Jimmy doesn't typically throw to covered wide receivers. He's kind of waiting for the wide receivers to find the zones, or he's trying to throw it with like anticipation, or he'll fit it in there. We see that all the time. But when it's like a one-on-one situation and there's coverage draped on a guy, we don't see him throw 50-50 balls. I guess is what I'm trying to say. We don't typically see 50-50 balls out of Jimmy Garoppolo. So when he throws them, personally, I'm kind of like, I'm holding my breath. And to be honest, it was a great ball. It was a great ball. He laid it up there. Again, you got a 6'3" wide receiver in Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings goes up and high points it at its highest point. Art, beautiful. I'll take that all day. I'll take that all day. And so Juwan Jennings is really proving a lot to me. Yeah, good. It's good. It's nice. It was nice. I liked it. So there's a lot of positives, lots of positives, all that good stuff. It was fun today. Again, it's stressful. Stressful. Like real stressful. Fun stress. No, was it fun stressful? I don't know. No, I lied. It was fun stressful. It was fun stressful when we were up by 2 touchdowns, I think. I think we're up by 2 scores. That was fun stressful. Like oh, like we're making some mistakes here or there, but hey, we're still got a 2-score cushion. It's all right. Well, it it got less fun stressful when it looked like we are about to lose the game. I was like, "Oh my goodness. Here we go again. Here we go." And I was thinking about getting on these lives, like everyone just screaming at me. I mean, not necessarily at me, but just, you know what? You know how it is. The 49ers don't win. It's not fun around here. So I was like, man, we were going to have Victory Monday, like all this kind of stuff. I was like, what is going on? It was stressful. It got stressful at the end. But to Jimmy's credit, again, and gotta have it moments, he got bailed out on one. He got bailed out on the Bates drop. But other than the Bates drop, those 2 drives that he had, that was some ice in the veins. Those are the types of drives, and I just so fans, I'll try to give a little bit of context to what it's like playing in those types of situations. The players remember those moments, and they really remember like when their backs were against the wall and they had to have these throws and they had to have these plays. He did it. Jimmy did it. He delivered. Again, got bailed out by the drop from Bates, but doesn't change the fact that he drove them down twice in gotta have it situations and move the ball at will. Let's go, Happy Detail. We see you, my boy. So like I said, I'm just trying to give a perspective of the players. Now, fans are going to go back and they're going to remember the miscues. They're going to go back and remember, well, we almost threw that pick to Bates, or remember when he dropped the ball for no reason, or remember when he threw the interception, or this, that, and the other thing. He's got to be better. He's not seeing the coverage. He's not doing. That's what fans remember. these players, they remember when their backs are against the wall and they need someone to step up. Who steps up? Jimmy stepped up. Now, again, like I said, we I'll say something positive about Jimmy, and people are going to be like, "Well, what about this? What about that? What about this?" Exactly. That's what the fans hold on to. But again, if you're in that locker room, and you've seen a situation where, hell, this guy, has maybe made a mistake here or there, but we can tell from his vibe and his energy that he's got all the belief in the world that they're going to win this game. Clearly, that rubs off on them. Clearly. Obviously, you know, does it make us as fans, sitting back and watching, does it stress us out? Yes, it does. But it galvanizes that locker room. That locker room, when your guy can keep dealing and keep fighting regardless of the mistakes and just keep attacking and attacking, there's belief that comes from that. Like I said, 49er fans, maybe not. 49er fans are going to, some will cherry pick the mistakes and focus on the mistakes. Some are going to cherry pick the successes and focus on that. Those players, what they remember the vibe. They remember the energy. They remember what it was like going into battle with that dude when their backs were against the wall. So again, we can be upset with this. Like, I know a lot of fans are upset with this year. A lot of fans are upset with this year. But hey, it's Jimmy. Boom or bust. Let's go. Let's go. I'll take it all day. I'll take it all day. Now, are there things that we can correct, things that we can get better, things that we can improve on, things we can coach up? Absolutely. 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 if we're coaching up Jimmy Garoppolo, oh yeah, there are things that we can coach up in situation, and yeah, of course. But remember, they won the game with him leading the way. So that means something to them. Might not mean as much to fans, might not mean as much to whatever side you want to call yourself. I think this was a big win. For one of that reason alone. That reason alone. The way that these types of wins can galvanize locker rooms. Again, the 49ers kind of need that. I think the kind of locker room situation, I think, the offseason, we've talked about it at length, has been a big reason why I think this offense specifically has felt disjointed at times because of the energy that's hung around since the offseason. However, these types of wins and these types of victories really bring that bond closer. So I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm going to talk about playoffs. This team showing me that was a playoff. That was a playoff game. That was a playoff game. That was a playoff. That was a playoff caliber football team. It was a playoff style situation with the injuries, overcoming injuries, losing Aziz mid-game. Like, that's what it is. That's what it takes. So I'm just happy, man. I'm happy. Yep, Nolan. This is where we make the run. This is where we make the run. SDS squad on holding it down On Instagram. Let's go. We see the SDS squad on Instagram. It's crazy. I forget that the SDS gang is pretty much YouTube and Facebook, I guess. Um, not so much not so much on Instagram because my Instagram lives were broken for the longest freaking time. Uh, how do I feel how do you feel on the game versus the Titans and the game versus the Rams? Um, to be honest with you, I talked about this a little earlier. I talked about how like I've been talking to kind of like our like the followers and the SDS squad, like we're playing the game. like like I know the question is about Titans or Rams, but I'm like I'm Falcons. My eyes are on the Falcons. I'm not overlooking the Falcons. The Falcons are currently 10th in playoff seeding. They're tied currently with Washington, the Vikings, and the Eagles, and the Washington hold the 7th seed right below the 49ers. So the Falcons want to beat us. Trust me. The Falcons want to beat us. If the Falcons could squeak into the playoffs, considering the couple years they've had, oh, they would love nothing more. They would love nothing more to send Kyle Shanahan packing. So that's what I've been talking about. I'm on Falcons. Like Falcons, like the Tennessee Titans game. It's a Thursday night football game, short week, traveling to Tennessee, trap game. Who knows? Who knows? Rams week 18, same thing. Who knows? A lot can happen from now till then. So right now, I'm Falcons. Falcons. I focused on beating the Falcons. Um, how can we clinch our playoff spot? So, like we were talking about, um, right now we're currently in sixth seed. We're currently sixth seed, and we have a 1 game advantage on Washington, Vikings, Eagles, Falcons, as well as Saints. We have tiebreaker games, thankfully, because we beat the Vikings and we beat the Eagles. So if for whatever reason the Vikings and the Eagles end up with the same record as the 49ers, the 49ers will be seated above them because they have the tiebreaker. So now that's why this game against the Falcons becomes very important. Again, they're 6-7, so they're only 1 game differential over the 49ers or under the 49ers. And let's say they win, and again the 49ers, that the Falcons own the tiebreaker, the Falcons might jump all the way up and bump us down. So that's why this game against the Falcons is huge. If we want to really be talking about the playoffs, we have to beat the Falcons. They're 6-7. They're only 1 game below the 49ers. And if we want to continue to control our own destiny, we need those tiebreakers. We need those tiebreakers over the Vikings, Eagles, and the Falcons. So next week, man. Next week's a mini playoff game. It is. What's up, GK? Galaxy? Hey, how about our boy Georgie, though? Yeah, George freaking bald. Let's freaking go. How about our boy? How about our boy, huh? Man, feels like people forgot about Kittle there for a second. It's kind of sad. But the real ones saw it all. The real ones saw it all. So that's the thing. We're there. We're right there. So how do we clinch? We got to beat the Falcons. That's the next step. That is the next step. Got to beat the Falcons. Absolutely have to take care of the Falcons. Can't take them lightly at all. At all. So, drop a Greg in the chat. Why not? Drop a Greg in the chat. Oh, we're going to have Victory Greg tomorrow for show. We're definitely busting out Victory Greg tomorrow. Hell, might even be tonight. We'll see. Might even have to bust out the Victory Greg tonight. Because that man balled. He freaking went crazy. What was Aziz? I honestly didn't hear what it was. So I'm still kind of waiting. Yeah, the Falcons are another team that do good against us because they know what Kyle is trying to do. I believe they still kind of run, a lot of what Kyle had implemented there. And I still think that's the base of their offense. Obviously, they still have the quarterback there. Matt Ryan, he knows the offense. He probably knows Kyle Shanahan better than anyone, like just as good as anyone else. So he knows his tendencies. He knows what he wants to do in certain situations. Now, obviously, those things evolve over time, but he still knows. How many yards did Kittle get? What did he get? Kittle had 151. He had 181 last week, right? And so he had 151 today. Dude, can Chicago beat Green Bay? Can we get that? Come on, Chicago. You can do it. Beat Green Bay. Beat Green Bay. Come on. You can do it. Let's see. Where did my stream just go? Oh, there it is. So, man, today was fun. Ooh, my boy. Shout out Money Mark 71 on YouTube for the super chat. So Jimmy was clutch today, equals Niners win. Feels good, baby. Hey, say what you want. I already know there's gonna be a couple people who disagree with you, Money Mark, but he was. You can't again. You can't discredit. You can't discredit it. He brought them back. He absolutely brought them back and was a huge reason why they won that game. So got to give credit where credit's due. So what's up, Bilo? Today yelling at the TV was worth it. Dude, I was screaming. I went crazy today. Hell yeah, you know the vibes. We out here. We're on live YouTube. We're on Instagram Live. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Sheesh. We out here. GK85 is one hell of a football player. Trust Bilo. Hey, I trust you, Bilo. He is one hell of a football player. He absolutely is one hell of a football player. It's good, Marco. So, man, I have a feeling we're going to post a lot of George Kittle this week. Some tells me I'm going to. Probably am. But feels like a good week to post a lot of George Kittle. Feels like a good week to post a lot of Greg. I hope so. I hope you feel the same. Yeah, hope his calf is fine. He had said that it was what did he say? He said he really tried not to associate it with like an injury. He's saying that the turf, playing on that turf is like playing on concrete. Said it was just a little dinged up from hitting the turf so many times. Shoot. He was money towards the end of the game. We know George, that dude would play with one arm He would play with one arm if he could. He really would. So he's good. Hopefully he's good. But I think that's gonna be it for tonight on the lives. This one I was so hyped earlier. Like I was just screaming pretty much. Like I wasn't really saying anything. I was just so I was just going crazy that the 49ers won. Because like we all kind of felt there. It felt like we were kind of losing it. It felt like we were kind of, you know, letting them take it. And so it was a wild game. Big players needed to step up in big times, and they did. Ryan on YouTube, appreciate the super chat. My guy says we still need cornerbacks when facing deep passing quarterbacks. I agree. Obviously, that's going to be an interesting situation to see how it's managed throughout. But I thought the 49ers schematically with the defense kind of felt like they're running some cover two. At least from what I saw, I didn't see wasn't totally trying to decipher coverages or anything like that, but felt like they are running a lot of cover two shell to kind of aid the cornerbacks. Again, not leaving cornerbacks on an island, not putting the cornerbacks in a position to play man on man. Obviously, when we saw them in a man on man situation, that was when Ambry Thomas, got put in the blender by Chase a little bit. But I think there's opportunities where we can help. We can help these guys. We can help the guys on the edges because I think we're so stout with the guys that we have on the middle, whether it's, at whatever level, whether it's Tart, Ward, Talanoa on the back end, or whether it's Aziz, Fred, Talanoa in the middle. Those, I think if we can stay healthy with those core guys, like those 5 guys that I just talked about, we can do a lot to help, I think, our guys on the edges. Again, because we know, I mean, just look at Jimmy. Jimmy loves going over the middle. So do other quarterbacks. Not necessarily always loving to go outside the hash or outside the numbers or going deep every single time. And when they do that, we do have safeties that have the range and have the ability and the cover skills to do what we need them to do. So again, if we can just keep our cornerbacks in a situation, maybe we're playing more cover 2, they're playing more to cover the flat, and then we're kind of passing off wide receivers to guys like Tart and Ward and Talanoa. I think we can come up with a scheme to make it work. But it's gonna take a lot of creativity. I think, of course, it's gonna take a lot of growth from our rookies. They're getting thrown to the fire, so we also have to keep in mind they're they're getting thrown to the fire. I don't think we even view Talanoa as a rookie anymore. I kind of feel like we're just like moving through this year, like, oh, he's a vet already. Like, oh, like Talanoa's played enough. He's a vet. Like, we know what he is. We know what he's capable of. We know what he's gonna do. Like, Talanoa's a vet. We already know what to expect from him. But good. Thankfully, he's gotten the experience early on in the year, and I think we're seeing it kind of pay off. So, like I said, there is a way that we can still put clamps over the middle of the field, and then we can just try to run, zone schemes, and try to, keep our cornerbacks out of one-on-one situations. And if we can do that, then I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good about it. Hopefully, we get Dante Johnson back again. Terrible what happened to Dante. Really hope that he can be back for us. Give him a lot of good energy, all that good stuff. So Man, needed that win. We needed that win in the worst way. Wasn't the prettiest, wasn't the sexiest, wasn't a blowout, wasn't none of that. It's all good. I'll take the dub any way I can get it. Obviously, it's easier to feel more confident for the next week when you kind of understand, like, oh, my team's going to come out and just throw up 30 on you regardless. Well, we don't necessarily know that. So next week is a new week. We turn the page. Victory Monday, we vibe. So Victory Monday is going to be hella fun. Probably going to spend all night just making random ass content for tomorrow. And then we'll be doing our lives tomorrow as well. All that good stuff. So I'm excited just about another week of running content off a W. It's so much more fun doing content when we got the dub. So stay tuned. We'll have plenty of stuff coming your way. Per usual, Victory Monday tomorrow. Let's get excited. Let's enjoy this one. Let's, again, hey, we're fans. Hey, we're fans. But if you're watching me right now, that means you're invested. That means you're invested in this team. That means you're invested in their success. You're invested. You're invested in these players. You're invested in these coaches. So hell, let's pretend like we're part of it. We got a vibe too. So we're gonna vibe out tomorrow. We're gonna have a great ass time on Victory Monday, and then we're gonna turn the page towards the Falcons, and then we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna break down the tape versus the Bengals. Then we're gonna transition towards Falcons, and it's a home game. It's a home game. So if you're gonna be there, start building up that playoff energy this week, right now. If you're gonna be there this Sunday, that's where we become a part of the game. Again, they feed off our energy when we're in the stadium. They feed off our everything that we do when we're good and we're locked in and we're ready to go. So us fans, hey, we're gonna do what we do, right? We're gonna do what we do. Good energy this week, and let's roll this into the Falcons. Let's keep building. Let's keep building. Good vibes, good energy, all that good stuff. And we'll have a blast with it this week. It's gonna be a fun week of content. So stay tuned, guys. I appreciate you guys all kicking it with me per usual. It's great being back on Instagram. I'm not going to lie. Clearly we've been doing lives on YouTube and the other platforms, daily lives for the whole year. And nothing against you guys, because the Sourdough Squad has been formed. We've been galvanized. We've been galvanized as a group on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those guys. We see you guys. We see the Sourdough Squad. But it's great to be able to vibe with Instagram again. So I'm excited to keep bringing and doing these lives on all these platforms. Another way of saying, I just missed you guys. I miss you guys. Is that okay? Can I miss you guys? I miss you guys. It is what it is. So glad to be back. Glad to be chopping it up. And we're gonna have a fun week. So you guys have a great rest of your night. Boom, boom. All right, guys. I'm outie. It's been fun. It's been a blast. As you guys know, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be probably doing our live around 1:30 tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe we do a little earlier, but our sweet spot's around 1:30. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk about it more in depth and have a night to sleep on and do all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys back tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. Enjoy this victory. Give your loved ones a hug just because. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night.